The pride and the tradition of the University of Miami Hurricanes, guys, will not be entrusted to the timid or the weak. Go hard, baby.
I remember walking through that cloud of smoke. Bunch of fans in the stands cheering for them boys. Whole family filling up in front bleachers. Big smile on mom's face like thank you, Jesus. My baby boy got his mind right. She told me it would happen when the time's right. Just keep your focus on your team and have fun while you're doing it. You're living out your dream.
I'm gonna win no matter where I go. And I'm just trying to give my all to you. You got my name up in the centerfold. I swear, Miami, this is all for you. All for you. All for you. All for you. Miami, this is all for you.
Yeah, I'ma rep it to the fullest. Yeah. A beast on the gridiron, them limits I'ma push it. Yeah. And we ain't about to lay down, we fighting to the end. We don't know nothing about losing, all we wanna do is win.
How quickly we forget. They wanted to drop football at the University of Miami. Pell Grant charges, allegations. Coach Erickson leaves for the NFL. Talk about a timely departure. Our brothers are falling. His life taken in a dorm room by a coward. Sanctions are handed down and we lose 31 scholarships over a 3-year period. Coach Davis comes back with that Coach Davis swag and his 3 Super Bowl rings. He comes in to bring that enthusiasm back to the University of Miami football program. Swag. A new crop of recruits, the best of the best, a new beginning.
When Coach Davis came in, it was like the Iron Fist was coming down. Because in credit to Coach Davis, it was needed.
I got an opportunity to see both locker rooms, and I witnessed the transition and the change.
He came in saying, "It's my way or the highway," and the minute he said that, a lot of those guys like.
1 week and the next week, they weren't there. They were gone. And guys, it didn't matter.
We were playing with 7 or 8 walk-on players at the University of Miami. Walk-ons, so they weren't on scholarship. They just came out from the building.
So it was tough. We had Mike Pickney. We had Big Stu at receiver. We had Pop at safety. So those guys, they came in and we had to accept them just like they was a full scholarship guy, because there was going to be some time in the year where we felt like we was going to need those guys to step up.
But nothing was happening. The kids didn't believe in what was going on, and it was really tough. And probably the whole thing really came out, or really showed itself when we went up to Florida State and Covington get whacked into the goalpost, and we couldn't pass protect, we couldn't do anything.
No one envisioned, myself included, nobody knew that we were going to lose 31 scholarships from the sanctions and the probation.
We only had 13 scholarships. Since we were going to graduate in the year 2000, we came up with the name 2 G's, better known as the G's.
And I think the thing that was unique about us when we came in, because we were so few, the camaraderie amongst ourselves forced us to compete harder. And a lot of us were thrust into starting roles or playing roles right away.
Most of the older guys didn't too much appreciate that, but we didn't care. We was young and dumb.
It was a class to jail, and it jailed naturally. Now having that background of the culture from his brothers Benny and Brian, and being able to pass the word along on how they ran things and how they did things, that's what we wanted. We wanted to be the UM of the 80s, the one that everybody either feared or loved.
And from then on, we somewhat recruited the younger players that came in every year, certain ones that kind of fit the mold and that had that dog in them. That's where the whole school started turning around right there.
All the young guys that was coming in now was going to be the new Miami. When you look at the 2 Gs and look at the Deuce one, those was the guys making all the plays. EJ, I remember the first game of the season, EJ wasn't even a starter. And I'm sitting on the sideline with him, and he told me, say, man, we playing Baylor, in Baylor. And I'm talking to EJ, he's like, man, when I get in, they gonna feel me.
We liked the idea of playing freshmen. That was just kind of part of the dynamics of of all the skill kids, particularly the wide receivers and the running backs, because it gave them game experience. At some point in time, you're going to have to rely on these guys to go in and play huge roles. And if they've never had their feet in the fire, they've never been in front of 60,000 people, you never really know how they're going to react. It's a lot easier to feel comfortable in how they're going to react and play when you give them opportunities to play little bits and pieces, roles in certain ball games.
But we made so many mistakes. We were young. We were just young.
And we just didn't have it upstairs, but in our hearts we had it. So at the end of the season, I remember we all made a pact that we were not going to cut our hair until we had a winning season.
It's what started the storm. That 5 and 6 year, it started the storm because
Kelly, Andre King, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Ed Reed. I mean, the list is endless.
These group of guys is going to be the guys that really turn this thing around. And I think from that week on, man, you could just see us play different. Even though we weren't winning a lot of games, but you could see the unity, you could see the bond.
One of the things that you have to absolutely love about a lot of the kids that we recruited those first 2, 3, and maybe even 4 years, they bought into a vision of what we were going to try to build.
I remember the revamping going on after that season. It was immediately Tom Moffitt came in as a strength coach. I think we had a guy before was Dale Hewlett, and it was a totally different mindset.
2G Click, I had already put that work in a couple of years coming into it. So they knew how to work in the offseason, but that offseason changed. That offseason got harder with Andrew Swayze and Tommy Moffitt.
To the first step! To the first step! Fourth quarter is right! You better have some pride, Dan Joseph! Turn and go! How was it? You get tired? Down! Stand up! You got a sprained SI joint. It ain't shit. It's like a sprained ankle. But you got to get over it. Don't feel like a cripple, please. Man, this is college football. It ain't supposed to be easy. If it was easy, if everybody would be out here. Your body's supposed to be sore and tight. All right? You're supposed to have tight backs and sore knees. All right? You want to be 5 and 6? Hell no. All right then.
The 5 and 6 season, it was a learning process. There was a lot of things that was going on, and we was just trying to get the program right.
Guys that had been here, from like before Butch, and they were there, and they really didn't have the tone in the locker room. The tone in the locker room was really set by your Edwin James, your Nate Websters, Damian Lewis, those guys.
We didn't allow weakness. You came in, you worked, you ran, you lifted, you got stronger, you competed in practice, all that every day.
Pride in the tradition of the University of Miami Hurricanes, guys, will not be entrusted to the timid or the weak.
If you didn't make all your times, guys would hang out on the field and not want to come in the locker room. I'm talking about big guys, offensive linemen, would not come in the locker room. Because if they did,
oh, man. Robert Sampson.
Big Rob, he didn't make his 110s. You want to see 200-300 pound guys get into. I'm talking about a knockdown, drag out, tore the locker room up. But that's what happened, guys. We took it that serious. We took it personal.
When you didn't make it through and you came to hang out, in the apartments during the summer, or even come back in the locker room after we just went through the hardest workout, of the week on a Friday, and now you want to come in and be smiles, that wasn't happening. It was more than accountability in that locker room.
We weren't going to lose anymore.
We got to make sure that our worst day is better than everybody else's best day. And Swayze always harped on that.
Workouts became kind of like where the games were won, because not only, obviously everybody wants to get stronger and faster, but it wasn't about your strength, it wasn't about your agility. Those workouts were mentally getting us ready to face all the adversity we did. And a lot of those wins weren't really attributed to X and O's. It was attributed to Tom Moffitt, Andrew Swayze, and those strength coaches, all their hard work and effort.
Jackson behind Mercier. Jackson got a great block from Mercier, and James Jackson is going to take it to the house.
Miami and Syracuse in a battle to decide the Big East title.
So we go into the game, and we have GQ 45 was the defensive call.
where it was like a man coverage, but we was blitzing the guy.
We had nobody on McNabb.
McNabb faked the option to the fullback and then just followed him. I remember that. So, I mean, he just followed him right up the middle. Nobody touched him for a touchdown. It was like 60 yards.
It was the worst game plan. It was the worst thing we could have ever done.
Nate came out there like a GQ. Goddamn GQ getting our ass kicked.
Went ballistic. I'm talking about he went crazy on everybody. Ripped into the team. This is blah, 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 blah. Just going in. One of the coaches said, Nate, you wait. Nate turned around and looked down and was like, no, you wait.
The whole GQ, that situation started off at the beginning of the week. You know, it was a problem then. But, you know, you do what the coach says.
Where it was so bad on the field that I'm getting the signal from the sideline.
Nate Webster got in the huddle. Look, we ain't calling this mess no more, man.
It was pretty volatile, you know, not fighting or nothing like that, but, you know, guys were very upset, you know.
And, of course, Damian Lewis agreed. So when the two captains out there agree, what else can you do?
Now they're running an option. We don't have anybody containing.
Option, then the pitch to McIntosh with some running room.
Of course, at the end of the game, they called timeout to let Donovan McNabb get out of the game, and this guy, and they were putting guys in the game to then bring them out of the game. It was the most disrespectful thing that ever happened. Syracuse will never beat Miami again, ever.
Coach CJ, he made all the receivers after the game was over. After we walked in the locker room, Coach Davis made his speech. Nate did his whole spiel. He made all the receivers walk back out there on the field in the tunnel and watch Syracuse celebrate on the field. And he told us, he said, I want y'all to remember this. I want y'all to know this feeling, understand what this feels like, so you don't ever experience this again.
Because you guys going to be the difference makers for years to come to change it.
I think the only thing that we changed that year, and I'll never forget this, we had a motivational speaker come in.
We had a psychologist come in, and Kevin Elko was our guy, but we didn't have Kevin Elko this time. Another guy.
He's actually a North Carolina State guy, which was their like team chaplain or whatnot. And to be quite honest, the guy spoke well. He was a good motivational speaker, but
he came in and told us that you know, to win the Big East, it was in our heads. We had to mentally see the win. So what we did was got fitted for our Big East rings, and we put our ring size on our shoe.
A dot on your left shoe and your ring size on the back of your right shoe. And every time that you look down at that dot tells you to focus. Focus on your technique, focus on this, you know, focus on whatever. I think every time we looked at that dot, they scored.
They must have scored in every aspect of the game. They scored on a kickoff return. They had a punt return. They had an interception for a touchdown. I mean, they if you look at that game again, you got to see that they beat us in every aspect.
That game was crazy. You know, like everything that could have went bad, went bad.
Hurricanes next week will take on UCLA. The Bruins hope to play Tennessee at the Fiesta Bowl for the national title.
UCLA was coming in. They were undefeated at the time. They were number 2 in the nation. It was in the Orange Bowl.
That week in practice, it was like just let loose. And all of a sudden we go out and it's like just like Carter, we're playing on top of a lake. And Butch just takes off.
He splashes, you know, in one of those puddles. And you just saw just a big belly flop. And it was totally out of character for him.
It was like gone. It's like we just started having fun.
It was a good thing to see. He got up, he was soaking wet, mud everywhere. Everybody just got in a big circle and just, you know, jumped around him and doing our Miami chants. And from that day, we knew we was gonna beat UCLA.
Every time it looked like that we were going to maybe lose the game, we'd have great possessions and answer and score. And it was one of the real, true, exciting football games that I've ever coached in, but it was one of the most remarkable performances by one single individual I think I've ever seen.
That game, you know, James Jackson, he actually got something happened where he wasn't able to play, and we lost a couple of players, and that was going to finally be my opportunity to show that I can carry the load, you know, and I got a chance to actually carry the ball.
Rushed nearly 300 yards against UCLA, and it was his last home game. At that time, they were ranked number 2 in the country.
Zach Edger kind of put the entire team on his shoulders that day. I mean, I think it was 299 yards.
This is my time to shine. 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 Give it up, give it up, give a hand for my haters, my number one fan. This is my time to shine. This is my time to shine. Started at my school, now they know me citywide, and I'm recognized. Everybody give me 5. Before my name was known, I still was on. I've been alive, one of a kind. If I kill myself, it would be genocide. But I'm too energized to fall asleep up in my eyes. My brain's flooded. I told my heart to send supplies. Going where no man is gone before. I'm finna try. Call me Mr. Alexander, Star Trek.
We went down by 17 points, where it was people were like, "Oh, we're kind of like out of it." We just kept on chopping away.
They throw it to him, and Butcher will score.
We specifically talked about, hey, let's get the offense back the ball one more time. They throw a post. I'm actually at safety. I take a horrible angle. I miss a tackle, but as soon as he throws the move, Ed crushes him. Reed crushes him, and I recover the fumble.
You know, and once we got that ball back, you know, it's like the place erupted.
First down, Miami. 2 turnovers.
You know, we knew we was playing against a team that was pretty much vulnerable. You know, the schedule got changed, so they were just thinking it was going to be a cakewalk. We had just got beaten by 50, 60 points the week before, but they had to come to our stadium. You know, and when you come to the Orange Bowl, anything can happen.
I think we came out this year and we showed a lot of fight and courage, and it can only get better.
Really start to focus on, listen, we have something here. We can't be satisfied. We can't get complacent. We got to keep on pushing the envelope. We got to take it one step further. And every coach did, including the strength coach. I mean, the same workouts we did prior to that season weren't the same workouts that we did that spring season. We started doing military warm-up. We started, instead of doing 110s on Fridays, we did like this military 110 where you were running 220 yards with a sled, and it was one of those workouts that you're like, you want us to do what?
The thought of losing or playing bad should never, ever, ever enter your mind. You hear me, Brian? The thought of playing bad, the thought of making mistakes, the thought of getting beat deep never enters your mind. It never. All you're thinking about is making plays and having fun, because that's what football is all about.
Football is middle. Push your brain. Get ready. Bang. Ready to go. Second bang. Ready. Bang. Yo. Ready. Bang.
You ready for this? You ready to go to war? We need 3. 2 ain't gonna last. In fact, we probably need 4. You never know what'll happen. The way we're going, every running back comes here. So I'll probably put it in the first round.
The conversation I had prior to coming to the University of Miami was with Ezra and James, and I remember he asked me, like, are you coming to the U? And my reply was, if you leaving the U, I'm coming. And, you know, I kind of smirked, and he looked, and he said, it shouldn't matter whether I'm leaving or not. You should come here for the competition.
You know, you get a lot of schools, they get people that get the ball for 20 times, 30 times. With us, it was only so many times you're going to carry that ball. So it had to mean something to you.
Let's get this season started off with a bang today. Great guys flying around, enthusiasm, doing the little things right.
So it's me and JJ battling for that starting spot. James Jackson.
I sacrificed 500 to protect for Kenny. Other than that, 2 G's.
Najeh looking good in practice. You know, everybody talking about Najeh. The Kane Sport talking about Najeh. Najeh this, Najeh this. So I'm like, what's going on around here? I'm still, hey, James Jackson still here. I'm still a man. How can y'all forget me? I'm still a man. So, you know, so I said, you know, I didn't want to, you know, put no salt in the game, but, you know.
Who's going to take E.J. Strong going into the season? Mind you, JJ hasn't practiced all training camp. Najeh been taking reps all training camp.
I say, Najeh, I'm going to help you warm up. And I say, just take some laps with me.
And I kick myself to this day. JJ said, let's warm up together.
Man, I think I took Najeh about 3-4 laps around the field.
4 laps around the track.
Got Najeh all tired, because, you know, Najeh big guy. Once he get tired, that's it.
I get into the game, I started off, it was rough. I got like 8 carries, 22 yards.
He warmed up with me, took Najeh around the field about 3 or 4 times. That was a wrap. Najeh ended up getting probably about 8 carries, 22 yards, and he blamed that to me to this day. By him not being the starter because I took him through a workout before the spring game.
JJ come in, fresh, ain't practiced in 2.5 weeks, did a mild warm up, and everything he did was like explosive.
The University of Miami is 1 hit away from playing a true freshman quarterback for the first time in 5 years.
Hey, happy first day of school.
Chills, man. I don't like school, man. I don't want to do this. I like practice. I don't like school. I got registered yesterday.
What's up, kid? I don't need no books, man. I'm going to class. I got my pen, that's all.
You got a pen. You gonna do borrow some paper when you get there?
The tree, man, trust me, if you looking for any player, football, basketball, track, anybody that's missing class or that's just, late for class, you can go to the tree to find us. Because that's where the tree was like a spot that if you didn't go to the tree that day, you was going to miss out on half your day. It was going to be something said funny, something done funny. Somebody was going to meet somebody new at the tree. It was going to be some new girl found her way to the tree and all the football players just found out it's a new girl at school. Everything went on at the tree that you can just imagine. It was one of those spots that it was the place to be on campus.
Go ahead, JP. Do it right quick, JP. Do the little song. Come on, JP. Put RBs, baby. Do what? Do the little song. Go ahead. Go ahead. Why y'all listen to this? Go ahead, JP.
I gotta get some claps on.
I ain't clapping. I'm clapping.
They call me Sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making romance. We had to go since training camp to get Chicago the Super Bowl champ. We're not doing it because we're greedy. The Bears are doing it to feed the needy. We wouldn't come here, look at the trouble. We wouldn't came here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Academically, we did all we could do. We had to work very hard. So to have a little getaway area where we can see the view, you can see the view of the whole campus. You can see the girls. You can see the new people that came into campus and get the overall view and see what life was like at UM. Those benches were perfect for it. So we met there as students and athletes and just kind of joked and joned each other, and it made the day go by so much easier when you could take that minute under the tree.
During the 80s, the Miami Hurricanes talked the talk and walked the walk with the very best. They won Heisman trophies, sent stars to the pros, and won 3 national titles. But probation sent this program reeling. Now they say the swagger is back in South Florida.
There's been a lot of concern about that attitude that Miami had during their championship years. You know what? I'd like to see them get some of it back. I always thought it wasn't the winning that led to their swagger. It was the swagger that led to their winning.
Man, count it up. We don't work too hard and too long. I want you to look at the man beside you and say, I am the baddest motherfucker you know. I'm the baddest motherfucker you know. It's gonna take 3 motherfucking things, and that's what? He's big bossy. What? Talk shit. What? Talk shit. What? Talk shit. Now let's go kick some motherfuckers. From north to south. From north to south. We really knock them out. We really knock them out, baby. From north to south. From north to south. We really knock them out. We really knock them out. It's Sticky Boston. It's Sticky Boston. MK's all the shit. MK's all the shit. It's Sticky Boston. It's Sticky Boston. MK's all the shit. MK's all the shit.
I remember making a bet with James Jackson. 50-yard touchdown on the first possession. I'm like, that's a no-brainer. We're playing Ohio State.
Well, if he elects to go that way. Jackson sprints to the right. Alley. Jackson breaks free. Jackson. Touchdown!
Second play, he go 56 yards for a touchdown down the side. Come over and say,
pay attention, Rook. That's what it's going to be like all year. Pay attention. That's what it's going to be like all year.
I'm looking like, wow, this man is amazing.
And it set the tone. It let us know that all that work we did in the offseason was coming to life.
intercepted. They got him wide open. Oh, complete. Kelly. Touchdown, Miami. Go for two now. Through high. Jackson, great catch, and they get it. Wobbler here, Santana Moss against Clemens. Santana runs to it and swings free. In a foot race with Berry. Moss, touchdown.
Woo! Shit! Boy, look at him. Yeah. Hey, this is what you call college football. I can play it every day.
Davenport, use him. Pounds for the first down. Behind McPartland. First down, Davenport. The bigger of the two backs. Bolts for 23 yards. Here's Najeh Davenport pounding for daylight and breaking free. Twists beautifully. A powerful run by Najeh Davenport.
This drive has been all Davenport. Davenport and Jackson
I started catching the cramp in the middle of a run, and I got tackled, and I tore my ACL and my LCL. They checking my knee, and all I could think about, I hurt something. But I really didn't feel hurt. I'm thinking about everything, leading me up to this point. And even I really didn't notice how serious it was until after I got home and they told me I'm going to be surgery.
Good job, Tanner. Guys, big boy, you all right? Can't hurt you. Can't hurt you. There's no way. Kryptonite won't hurt you. I'm coming.
And as soon as Najeh got hurt in that game, I walked right down to Art Keogh and I said, bro, we just lost a national championship losing him. If Najeh and JJ were healthy that season with the competition in that room between the two of them, these guys were really good. So Najeh was a different kind of guy. At the tailback, he wound up playing fullback the rest of his career. But at tailback, he was a pretty special cat.
So the more opportunities he got, the better he was going to get. I mean, his game was about getting a feel for certain plays, getting a feel for things, and and the speed that he had, the ability to run over people, to run through people, and to certainly run away from people was something that the program didn't have. I mean, he had some actual intangibles that even Edgerrin didn't have.
We didn't call him Najeh, we called him Big Boy. Because Najeh was just, he was a big back at the time. Maybe he was 240 pounds and probably one of the fastest guys on the team. And everybody was excited for Najeh. We was excited for him because he was so talented. And I tell everybody, he was probably the most talented when you talk about it, from Edgerrin James to Clinton Portis to James Jackson. All those guys had something, but Najeh was probably the most talented. And they'll tell you, the most talented back we had.
I could see it in their eyes like, this is it for us. Najeh is out, and I think Najeh was poised to have a great season that 99 year because he was finally going to be in a rotation with EJ being gone and it being James Jackson and Najeh Davenport show.
And he gets hurt. He gets the knee injury that game. That really hurt us. And then James gets a high ankle sprain. So Portis and Payton are guys that have to play.
So good. And then next thing you know, I find out he's hurt, and I'm just like, whoa. And to be honest, I wanted to play this year, but then I didn't. I wanted to sit and wait. And now I have to play, so it's big time. Everything's changed. Everything's changed.
And it was to see at the beginning of the year, he's balling. I'm like, man, this is unbelievable. And then to see him go down, the next thing is a lot of eyes started switching over to, me and Portis. Your time might be now. You have to be ready to go. And which one of you guys is going to be ready?
We're going to look at Clinton Portis and Jarrett Payton, the two freshmen.
Losing Najeh hurt the team real bad. To be honest with you, I think with Najeh, we're a national championship team. Without Najeh, we have to work much, much harder to be a national championship team.
State coming to town and they were ranked, another Big Ten team we felt like we can play with, and they came in being physical, and they had a Hall of Fame coach with them as well, and we just came out there and played tough football. I mean, the game was going back and forth. I can remember covering Chaffee Fields the whole game, and I mean, I was man up with him a lot, and they used double moves, and he was trying everything to get open. I'm running with him stride for stride, and I saw his eyes get big, but in my head, I'm like, ball can't be coming right here. Swiped to knock the ball from his hands, and I slid in the wet grass, and I'm seeing Ed Reed flying over there, and I said, okay, Ed got him.
Just had all the confidence in the world that that play was over. You know, I was just kind of jogging to get there, you know, in position to make a play, but just thinking like there's no way this play is going to be completed with Mike in the position that he was in.
Thinking that was like a stab that's in the stomach, because that's a team, man. You know what? They had a great team, but we were the better team on the field that day. We knew it, and you know, we once we got going, took control of the game, got the lead in the game, and we come out and we blitz them. We blitz them, and it was just a bunch of little things go wrong for that play to happen.
The blitzer got nicked a little bit and was right there before the ball. Matter of fact, hit him as he was releasing the ball, and the guy caught it and went in for the touch. You know, and it was hard, kind of a heartbreaking loss, because we really played pretty well that game.
Going into the locker room, I'm boohoo crying, and every man in the locker room looked me in my face and said, "It's not your fault. Don't worry about it."
After that play, I don't think Mike Rump gave up a touchdown, and I'm almost absolutely positively certain of that. Mike Rump didn't give up a touchdown for the rest of that season.
It just took the wind out of your sails, because we win that game, and I think, you know, there's a different outcome to that. I think if we win that game, we win maybe a couple other games that year, because
it made us realize that once again, at the end of the day, it was going to be the players that determined the outcome. It wasn't going to be the coaches. It wasn't going to be the play calling. It wasn't going to be the officials. It was Miami against everybody.
Boston College in a surprise, 28-7.
Because all the way back to 49, 47, nothing in Florida State. It took us there, I think. Some of us who was through that game, and we were like, nah, it's enough is enough. Enough is enough.
You get a feel when you're in a room with guys, how they're approaching things and how they were. You know, when we first got there, everything was, you know, you go in and you sit there and talk to guys, and they walk out of the room, they're just, you know, they're thinking about something else. These guys weren't thinking about anything but winning games.
You want to be 5 and 6? Hell no. All right then.
Kenny Kelly sets up the screen. Jackson touchdown, Hurricane.
I said, fuck it. We're going outside. That shit all day. Keep going. It won't be long now. Let's play our motherfucking defense.
14 seconds remain, 28 apiece. Skinny Kelly in the pocket, rolls.
Out of my right, he throws the ball close to the sideline.
Out of bounds, caught at the 12-yard line. And a lot of time, Reggie Wayne.
Toe-tap drill, something that we practice as receivers every day after practice. Especially me and Andre King, we worked on that all the time. And the Crossland comes in and kicks the field goal, and victory for the Canes.
Say this, you know, all kinds of things happen in your life. You go through ups and downs and disappointments and frustrations and adversity, guys. It's going to happen all your life. I want you today, when you get along by yourself, I want you to think about what made this possible. And guys, sometime in your life, as a favor to yourself, to the things that you learn here, when you're faced with tough times, don't ever give up. Never, ever, ever give up, and believe in each other.
Virginia Tech is a game that, as far as being a player, I think Virginia Tech game probably should have, hands down, been the greatest game of my career. And it went from the greatest game to one of the worst games because I think I had 3 fumbles.
Defensive end, a little guy, you know, it's Corey Moore, but buzzsaw. It was like he'd be coming from the backside.
As I'm running, hit the ball out, and it was always like on the verge of a 60-yard touchdown or an 80-yard touchdown or a big play.
He had a pretty good game, all right, but he put the ball on the ground. I called Portis in and I said, you know, if you fumble anymore, pal, I said, if you don't carry that ball high and tight, I said, you're going to be backpedaling. You ain't going to be playing running back.
That game, I was pissed off because Kenny Kelly was, anytime he was in trouble, he was looking for me. And, you know, to see him go down, you know, that was one of the guys that really had me becoming into the guy who I was at that point. But I remember when he went down and Ken Dorsey got in, you could see it in his eyes, he was rattled.
Ken Dorsey comes in, you can see it in his eyes. He was a little weary, you know. Virginia Tech, Blacksburg is a tough place to play, especially when you're outlawed.
I didn't know what to expect. Well, I knew what our job was. Coach Saul said, make sure that he doesn't get hit. So the running back were to help out the offensive lineman and make sure Ken Dorsey did not get hit.
You know, it was walking into a buzzsaw. It really was. I mean, it was a tough environment. You know, honestly, at the time they were rolling, and we were trying to get to where they were at.
Those guys they had some guys on defense that just was they played well, man. They played great, but they was getting back there, sacking the quarterback, getting back there, putting pressure on him. On the sideline, one play, Dorsey threw me a bad ball, and you know, anybody as a receiver would call it a bad ball, but I told Dorsey came out and apologized to me on the sideline, and I remember Nate Webster being in his ear, going off on him, and I told Nate, calm down. I told Dorsey, that's not a bad ball, it's not bad. I gotta make that catch.
Just off the mark.
And I think that showed Dorsey that, man, you got guys that's riding for you, you know.
I think that moment really kind of set the tone, especially for me, because it was like, you know, those guys have been scratching and crawling, and then I get an opportunity to come in. And you almost feel like, you know, you want to do more, and you feel a way you let those guys down a little bit because, you know, you couldn't come in and help the team win.
Stadium in Jacksonville for the Toyota Gator Bowl. The Hurricanes against the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets do have the best bowl record all time, best in the nation.
This football program was made on games like tonight. It was made on games like tonight. Guys, if it's true that challenges brings out the best in every man, if it's true, tonight will bring out the best in everybody in this room. Hold your hands up high! Hold your hands up high! Mighty Canes passing by! Mighty Canes passing by! Hold your hands up high! Hold your hands up high! Mighty Canes passing by! Mighty Canes passing by! He's sticking bus stick! He's sticking bus stick! Them Canes are the shit! Them Canes are the shit! He's sticking bus stick! He's sticking bus stick! Them Canes are the shit! Them Canes are the shit! Everybody just gonna take 3 motherfucking things. It ain't gonna be easy, but thump these motherfuckers. They gonna take 3 motherfucking things, and that's what? He's sticking bus stick! Talk shit! Talk shit! Talk shit!
Through everything we went through, going through the 5 and 6, and now being back to playing in the January 1 Bowl, we just wanted to show, we wanted to make up to everybody for what, you know, everything we did wrong that year.
You know, we played a Georgia Tech team with Joe Hamilton. Joe Ham.
Keep pounding, they gonna wear the fuck down. Hey, the receivers don't want no part of that blocking shit. Every time, and tell them they go. Every time. Say, bitch, you a pussy, you soft.
I remember my shoe coming off.
When his shoe came off, I seen it before anybody else.
And Portis had to get in the game.
So I go to run on the field, and Coach Sal grabbed me, like to stop me from running on the field. And when I look up, JJ like waving me on as he coming off the field.
And a freshman All-American by the Sporting News, top rusher for the game.
And I remember Coach Davis flipping out.
Butch comes running down. He looked. He says, comes running to me, pulls my earshot up, he pulls my headphone up, he says, "What's Clinton Portis doing in the game?" I said, "JJ was tired, Butch." I said, "No, I put Clinton in again." He says, "Well, get JJ back in the game." I said, "Okay, right after this play."
I remember getting that ball thinking, I gotta make something happen. Like, they taking me out the next play. And when I cut back, I could see it was like that video, that whoa, and I could just see the light, and it was like off to the races.
This is down the sideline. Portis to the 10, and Portis will score.
Coming to the sideline, and Coach Sal being so excited, and you could tell him and Coach Davis had just had words.
Bingo, 76 yards, Gator Bowl record.
That game brought back our swag. January 1st win, we beat a good team, we beat a Georgia Tech team, and we're carrying that again into the next season.
Situation that I approached the Tampa Bay Devil organization after the bowl game to see what kind of, see what they thought my future was in baseball and what plans they had for me if I gave up football. And, we began to negotiate, and the deal broke through last night, and I finally brought it to the media and brought it to Coach Davis' attention this morning that I gave up football to go play full-time baseball.
That off season, we put in so much work that it was unreal. Like, I remember that entire off season being so competitive with the guys who were coming in and the guys who we had.
Ed Reed, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Najeh, all those guys. Dan Morgan was in there, and they basically formed this quote-unquote clique. They had built this culture of tough practices, tough workouts. Everything was competitive, and you either rose to the top or you fell to the bottom. You were going to either compete and fight and win, or you were just going to fall by the wayside. And that separated the men from the boys.
It was so physical and it was so dominant, but that's all we knew. To us it was just a normal day in the neighborhood, but other people come out there and be like, what's going on here? You got to calm down. But the coaches let us control ourselves. We, like you say, we had leaders. We had, Najeh Davenport. We had Clinton Portis. We had Jeremy Shockey. We had Ken Dorsey. We had those guys on the offense side of the ball. Then on the defense side of the ball, you had so many guys that you can look at. And they knew that things would be under control. And even if they did get out of control, we found a way to put it back in control, whether it was on the field or off the field. So at the end of the day, we were family. No matter what took place out there on the field, no matter what took place in the locker room, at the end of the day, we were family.
That's what I think always made Miami special. The amount of work and the amount of, the amount of time that guys put in on their own, be it, not just the workouts, but 3 days a week of 7-on-7 and organizing that stuff. And those sessions were as competitive in the off season, in the middle of summer in the heat. Those 7-on-7 sessions, guys would be getting after it. It set the tone for the season.
I remember Vilma coming to practice. He was an incoming recruit. I remember him coming to 7-on-7 and participating in drills. Everybody would always say Vilma against CP, as if he could check it. And I used to demolish Vilma.
None of that bothered me, because when I would practice, they're like, oh, you know what? He can play. He can play football. So
he had that fire in him that you knew he was going to be a good player. It was like that. He was up for the challenge, but he wasn't ready for me. But he wasn't backing down.
It was probably that little bit of respect, what little respect I got as a freshman, where, they just left me alone. I did all the freshman things. And
I just remember that competition. Myself and Jonathan Vilma, every 7-on-7 or 1-on-1.
I remember I first got there, we did a 7-on-7 drill against Dan Morgan, and I went up, caught a pass, and he hit me. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, I know you dropped me off here a couple days ago, but I don't think this is the right place for me.
Offense was offense and defense was defense. And, there were so many, we call them periods, where it'll be offense versus defense and something will be going on. And all it takes is one hit or one guy that felt like he got wrong, or it could have been on accident, an extra too hard on the play. And it's okay. All right. And then once everybody started chatting and talking like that, it was on. It was like we weren't teammates, and we really went at it like full speed and hard.
We had practice, and this tour days and this competition, it's going. I mean, we are going, and we like, man, you know what, DBs, nobody gets behind us. If they break on the ground, they catch it in the air, don't matter. We the police department. We pulling them over, slow it down, go out of bounds and get your ass hit, or we writing a ticket.
Long story short, Reggie's coming across the middle. I don't even see him. I break on the ball, and as I'm breaking on the ball, I hit him. And I hit him, and, he falls, ball pops up, defense is going crazy. It's kind of a big hit. And Reed stands over him and writes the ticket.
Ticket, nice hit.
I caught a pass, and Reed hit me high, Devin hit me low. I get up and throw the ball at him, and it kind of ignited the whole offense and defense thing to really go out there and really go to war against each other. Before you know it, like now we trying to go out each other's heads. I'm not even going out to passes. I'm going out to try to hit Reed and hit Devin because I feel like they all on the same side together. They know what they doing, trying to punk us. And before you know it, man, it's crazy. It was like a war out there.
I remember one practice got so heated, man. It got so tough. We wasn't even talking to the DBs, man. Practice was over, we in the locker room, no words were said.
Walking there and I'm like not getting anything for Reg. I'm like, hold on, man, this can't be right. So when I go out, I go down like, D-Brown, man, I'll let you, man. Like, what's up, man? It's like, that ain't just quiet, man. They ain't really talking. So like, we in the room for like a couple days, man, this went on.
For the rest of spring ball, they did not talk to us. They didn't talk to us. They didn't go to dinner with us. They didn't lunch with us. We had classes together. Santana would come in the room, just go straight to his side because it was that competitive.
That's kind of how it was, We felt like when we out there practicing, we was going up against the best.
So you didn't want to lose to that guy. I didn't want to lose to a Willis McGahee or Clinton Portis. I didn't want to lock up with Brian McKinney and lose that battle. So we would go 100 miles an hour, and then come to find out we're going in the game and we're doing what we normally do, 100 miles an hour, and we're competing against guys, but they just weren't as talented. You didn't see Willis McGahee lining up across on the other side of the ball against you on Saturdays. You didn't see a Frank Gore or Clinton Portis.
Every day, to where when the game time came, we felt like we already played the game. Now it's about to be total fun.
Nothing against our opponents. It was just that the guys we had were going so hard that when we get into the game, all we knew was to go 100 miles an hour.
Come on the 2000 season, we beat Knee State. The second game is Washington. Long flight.
That was the first time we really flew across country like that. So it was more of like a vacation, seemed like, than it was really a game.
Dorsey's first start on the road. It was loud being in Seattle Stadium.
It was by far the loudest game I ever played in. I remember not even being able to think straight of how loud it was.
Shouldn't be an excuse. We're not going to make excuses. They're kicking our butt.
You look up at the scoreboard and we was down by 20 points or 23 points, like quick, fast.
I don't think mentally we was prepared as players. We went out there not knowing that we're not going to be able to hear each other. We took all that for granted. And, when you take stuff like that for granted, and now you sit out here and you're in the middle of it, now you got to think, now you got to play, you got to execute. That can rattle anybody. And we was rattled for the first half because we just didn't play our best. But the second half, we found a fire.
It's like we finally got adjusted to the time zone, the change. And then we started, making progress. We started coming back, and then all of a sudden we in striking distance. And we just ran out of time, man. I think we had 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
90 seconds more in that game, I think we score. We can't blame any but ourselves.
I remember Al saying, the season is not over. That's only one loss. We have a chance to get back in this thing. Not in those words, if you know Al, Al pissed off, but not in those words. Al is pissed off.
After that game, we were the best team in the country, without a doubt. There was no other team in the country that could beat us at that point.
Going into the Florida State week, I remember that to this day.
When we played Florida State, it was 90,000 in there somehow. They brought out extra bleachers. People were sitting on laps.
Hotter than it's ever been. Obviously, they ran out of concessions.
We always had the game at noon. It was like the whole high noon, the showdown. It was hot. Like, it was very, very uncomfortable, but
we were built for that, man. We were built to go blow for blow and fight to the last minute of the game because we had so much talent on our team.
Jumped ahead of them so fast, and then somehow, some way, Florida State got back in the game.
Najeh fumbled, obviously. He should have won. He fumbled there.
I had the worst feeling I ever felt.
And all of a sudden, I'm watching the defense, and Stu Minnis is catching passes down. I'm like, oh man, here's Chris Sweet. He's 40. He's throwing passes. He's got catching balls. We're gonna lose.
And in that last drive, I think I was like 7 for 8 or something like that. I think the one completion, Reggie had his guy beat, in the corner of the end zone along the right side. I overthrew him and missed him. I look over the sideline to get the next play, and like Michael Irvin is like halfway out on the field just screaming at me, just give him a chance. Just give him a chance to make a play.
We realized Ken Dorsey was going to be pretty good, because he marched that team down with no problems. He took charge of that huddle offensively, and he let us know that he was a bad man.
Here's Dorsey, 1st and 10. Plenty of time left, Vern, a minute 32.
I strike off towards our sideline, got all the yards I can get, and I get out of bounds. Michael Irvin grabs me and said, no, you take this play off. Darryl Jones going to the game. He telling me to breathe slow. He's telling me this is where it's going to be. He said, hey, in order for you to play on the next level, you got to show up big in this game, this drive.
Came in, and I went to Coach Davis. I said, listen, I'm gonna go in this series coming up, He said, no, you got, your knees hurt. I said, no, I'm going to go in. It's feeling better,
Dorsey once again led the charge, taking what the defense gave him. Didn't force anything. I remember he, just throwing, 5 yards here, 10 yards there. I remember me catching a big 3rd down, catch.
Clock to run, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him use a timeout if Miami gets another play because he's got to do something to stop this rhythm that Ken Dorsey's in right now. Auburn miss left, Wayne comes right. 3rd and 4. Dorsey down the middle, man. Cross. First and goal at the 7-yard line.
It was like play after play after play after play. I think I caught a ball. Reggie caught a ball. I came back and caught another ball. And the last ball was going to come to me. I was wide open. And I don't know what, I think somebody jumped offside.
Joaquin Gonzalez.
Yeah, I remember jumping offside and the play right before we score.
But then obviously he turns to me and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And he's like, what are you doing, man? That's not my fault. That's not my fault.
We were on the same play. And Shockey said in the huddle, man, give me the ball. And Dorsey gave it to him.
And it was like something from the program, the movie.
Telling Dorsey in the huddle, I say, listen, I didn't play all game, and I don't think, Brian Allen, the linebackers, really getting back in the deep zone where he's supposed to be.
As time goes into the end zone. Touchdown!
I can't forget, Shockey said, give me the ball.
It actually went right across his face, and Dorsey threw it, great pass, and game over.
You thought Florida's election was bizarre. Take a look at that state's simmering football controversy. Now, the BCS computer.
To find out that we beat the #1 and the #2 ranked team, and we don't play for the national championship, that hurt. That hurt bad.
Especially to beat a team and then see that team jump you, and it was because of some computer.
The BCS computers boosted Florida State into tomorrow night's championship game against Oklahoma, even though Miami beat the Seminoles 27-24.
I mean, they had all these stuff that they put in their strength schedule, blah, blah, blah. We were the best team. We were the best team that whole year, without a doubt. Better than Oklahoma. And I'm sure they didn't want to play us. And if they asked them at the time, Oklahoma, you want to play them or Florida State? Yeah, we would take Florida State.
And I think it fueled the fire. I think it was like, well, we're still going to a BCS game. We're going to be playing against a top 4 or 5 competition. We're going to embarrass them.
We're a little bit bitter the fact that we weren't playing for that national title, to tell you the truth. We felt and we thought that we earned and we deserved to be in that national title game. And it was only a matter of time before that can of worms was opened up on the Florida Gators. And it didn't take long. It didn't take long for our swagger to come out, our attitude to come out.
You from Texas, dude. What? Yeah.
What's up, Ted? Let's say what your mama gave you.
Let's go. Hey, let's get some beef first. Come on. Hold on. Yeah, there we go.
One time.
Show them 10.
One time. Let's say what your mama gave you.
One time.
No, not, okay, no, just never.
All right, let's go. Move your hand, man. 1, 2, 3. Hold on, I gotta see this shit. We got the camera. Everybody say, what's up, boy? What's up, boy?
When we look, them gators ass all up and down the sugar.
Oh no!
We saw things on the street.
And we got this drum.
We on Bourbon Street, we walking, and then we meet up with a couple more younger guys, sophomores, juniors, and we all it may be 10 of us. So we coming down the street, and right in front of us, like 10 yards off, is the University of Florida guys.
We knew somebody on the Gators team, and we were talking to them.
Jaward Warren, the defensive tackle, and Andre Davis, the linebacker.
They were explaining to us that they had just gotten into an altercation inside with some of our teammates. So they were telling us what happened, and me and Najeh was talking to them.
And Andre said, Al Blake. We just got an altercation with Al Blake. They was explaining what happened in another little bar.
And then the people they got an altercation with was coming out of the spot they were in. And
you looked up and you saw guys kind of stiffened up, and it was like, oh, something about to go down. Again, we were young puppies, so me, Vilma, all these guys were like, we gotta go over there. What's gonna happen?
So, we just listening because they were like, well, we don't want no trouble.
And everybody got riled up again. And
all we hearing like, what?
And that was like, you could be anywhere. And once you hear that, that's like your brother or somebody saying, hey, I need people around me, whatever.
Our 5, 10 guys turned into 20 guys.
Somebody from their side threw a drink at us.
That same beer can, a Heineken, and a hand grenade.
And we threw one back, and then next thing you know, punches being thrown.
It didn't take long to see 325-pound, 19-year-old Vince Wilfork bust out from some voodoo shop and 1-2 a few guys in the street and realize that we just brought this kid in from high school, and he's out here whooping people on Bourbon Street. It was an impressive night.
Oh, look, curfew violators, right? Curfew violators. Right here. KB.
I'm turning y'all in.
Yeah. Hold up. Yo, hold up. What's going on? What's going on here? KB.
Yo, is there a vending machine around here?
KB, you're lucky we can't get PlayStation 2. What's up, Dave?
There you go.
What's up, buddy?
Go get your room.
Look, that's buddy. That's security guy right there. What's up, buddy? How's it going?
Darren, you got every other room there?
That's Dave.
We weren't going to back down from anybody, especially being robbed of a chance to play in the national championship. So, that was just a warm-up, and we got it on Sugar Bowl.
Number 13, who's playing with a little bit of a black eye, has got vengeance on his mind, folks. He was the one casualty that we know of in that Bourbon Street brawl last Wednesday night. A short drop, beautiful to Santana Moss. High, Gaffney had the end zone, intercepted. And the crowd got to see the replay and picked off by the Cane. Out as an extra receiver, and then they run Davenport, the fullback, who's a pounce. He looks back the other way, and he's got his tight end, Jeremy Shockey, who play fake. Dorsey's looking for Davenport. Can he get there? Short. Oh my, what a catch for a touchdown. Middle intercepted by Morgan at the goal line. They beat the Gators.
And they're at least state champs.
For sure. They have.
What's up, baby? Hey, we done came down here, baby. 4 hard years, baby. Putting in work, under probation, baby. Let's see what hard work do for you, baby.
We're going to carry the tradition on, dog. Last year, next year, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go out and ball, dog. We ain't going to lose shit next year. I feel we don't lose nothing. Next year, what's up? Time from now on. Next year, roll ball. Hey, y'all be doing it all the time now, baby. What's up, big baby? What's up? That's what I'm talking about, baby.
No doubt in our mind now who's number 1.
What else?
Hey, Sugar, man. Been down.
Huh? How about that, G?
I'm an alumni, coach. We're going to get your
alumni now. Hey, Canada, baby. That's it, Canada. Hey, good with the ball, baby. Good shot.
great years, man. That 2000 Sugar Bowl was phenomenal. It was really one of the last times that a lot of our great players, the transition players, the guys that were there through the hard times with Butch Davis, and the new guys that were coming in to create this new era of just absolutely elite football, that was our transition period, and the fact that it ended with that Sugar Bowl was pretty stellar.
I remember exactly what he said. He was like, I know a few weeks ago I just told you guys that I wasn't, going to leave you. But he's like, just like how you guys are in college right now and your aspirations are try to be a pro and be at the top level, he was like, I have goals too. And he's like, I have an opportunity and I've chosen to take that opportunity. And you had to respect that. You don't realize at the end of the day it's a business. And so we didn't understand that. But what I liked about it was when he came in and he presented it to us, he didn't sugarcoat it.
As a man, I understood as a man you got to make decisions for your family, and it was such a tremendous opportunity for him to go to the next level. And who deserved it more than Butch Davis, because he brought our program back from being that 5-6 team to the team that we had become.
And when he walked out of that locker room, he was like, all right, who's our next coach? Because we're going to get another one.
To be honest with you, I don't really think that we really care who the head coach was actually going to be. We just say we just find somebody inside. And that was it. And we're going to make it work.
It was a group of us, like I think me, Najeh, Ed Reed, Mike Rom, guys who basically were leaders. We went up to Paul D and we kind of expressed why we wanted somebody that was already in-house.
Mr. D, we want to win a national championship, and he agreed. In order for us to win a national championship, we cannot bring anybody in here new who doesn't know us. We need somebody who's here, Coach Coker being the coach, that understand us as players and is going to give us the best chance to win a national championship. We'll take that into consideration. Thank y'all for coming up. We appreciate it. That was the meeting. And Coach Coker got hired.
Canes Fest 2001 in Fort Lauderdale. The event is the Canes' way of getting reacquainted with their fans, handing out autographs, taking part in contests, but more importantly, talking one-on-one with the faithful.
I still remember leaving out of Canes Fest, and Coach Solinger and his wife were walking out with us, and she's like, I want to see this new car everybody's talking about. So we walk out, we drop the top in the Beamer, and she's like, man. And as soon as we all got in the car, Clint was driving, I was in the passenger seat, Portis was in the back. She looked at all of us and she was like, hey, put on your seatbelts.
All of us grabbed our seatbelts, and Clint Hurt pulled off. And at the moment that Clint Hurt pulled off, like all three of us released our seatbelts at the same time.
The three heading back from Hurricane Fest, a team function in Broward County, headed southbound on I-95 around 6 o'clock, veered toward the Biscayne exit.
Clint basically tried to jump a couple lanes over because we were going off on an exit to go back going towards the Coral Gables, and there was another car coming, so when he looked, he kind of just like glanced and then tried to whip the car over, and then next thing you know, the other car was coming. So
he tried to jump back into the lane behind the van, and the car kind of fishtailed.
And then it went straight towards the wall, and I thought we were going to hit the wall, and there was an underpass. I thought we were going to like flip over and like fall.
And it just felt like I was bracing myself for impact. Like I felt like we was flying off the cliff and just hadn't landed yet.
Side airbag came out, front airbag came out, and I was holding on to the side of the car like with my life, and I got tossed out and landed about 25 to 30 feet on my stomach. And I got up and I saw Clint Hurt, his face underneath the car. So I go and drag him out, make sure he's alive, and then I see Portis, and I'm yelling at him, wake up, wake up. His face is all cut.
Like, the only thing I could see was like all the fumes, and I could hear voices, and like I'm like, what happened? And I remember like grabbing my shirt because I couldn't really see. It was like real blurry. And I remember like grabbing my shirt and I wiped my face. And when I wiped my face, I looked down and my entire shirt was covered with blood.
The parents of teammates arrive at the hospital after hearing the news.
They said it was badly damaged, that it was so messed up, like it was a total loss, that no one should be living.
Junior running back Clinton Portis ejected. Senior strength coach Clint Hurt also ejected. And in the passenger seat, junior running back Jarrett Payton, the son of Hall of Fame running back Walter Payton. As they often do, rumors quickly spread, some saying the players were critically injured. Obvious relief when doctors had better news. Authorities say alcohol was not a factor. They say all three of these fellas were not wearing their seatbelts, and all three in good condition, and quite frankly, from the pictures you saw a moment ago, three very lucky to be alive tonight.
Pre-game warm-up when he went up to the other team, you saw a look in their eyes, and they were thinking, can't wait to get back on that plane. I mean, you had some of the best players that ever played the game, even in the NFL, on not starting on offense or defense, playing special teams.
You're in the way, something that we're trying to go and obtain. And what I loved about the U was our coaches' personalities matched the players.
Going into the situation, we already knew they were starters. I mean, you had, All-Americans, at every position, and multiple All-Americans.
The camaraderie, the competitiveness. You had Clinton Portis coming in as a freshman telling James Jackson, I'm going to take your job. Not in a disrespectful way, but if you don't watch your back, we're going to take your job. And that's what Green Tree brought out of everybody, the competitiveness.
You wanted to show up the strength coach. I mean, I remember going into workout with Tom Moffitt, with Andrew Swayze, where I didn't want to let him know I was hurt because it would just piss him off even more, because it was my mindset that they wanted to break us.
Like, from that point on, I never even thought about it. It was just like, how bad could we beat these teams? I think every ranked team we played, we probably beat by 40 points.
Florida State week, this is different. And the way we practiced that week, the way we watched film, the way we were on with all our checks, with everything, it was different. You can tell that the upperclassmen dictated the tempo for that week. The upperclassmen let us know, like, we're coming. This is business. This is strictly business, and you could take a little bit personal because this is Florida State, but we're not gonna give in. We're not gonna settle for anything less than a victory.
Living legends, straight up. Like I said, we feel like we went up against the best every day, not in the games, but in practice. There's so many legends that come on that field, man, and put down.
Boston College, man, it was just, we knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. It just was weather the storm. Right before the snap game, I'm like, Mike, get inside this slant. Press him, get inside, jump this slant. I got you over the top.
As I took it inside, I saw the ball coming. As I reached out to grab the ball down, it was a low ball. It really hit in between my hands and bounced off my knee. So as it bounced off my knee, I saw it going to a crowd of players.
Matt catches the ball. Matt looks like, to me, like he's running to score a touchdown, but Matt is too slow to score a touchdown. So let me help Matt out. I run over there and I'm yelling, Matt, give me the ball, this Ed. He looks up at the last minute. I mean, if you pause it, as he gets the ball, he looks at me and lets it go.
Ed turned into a little 6-year-old.
And so I had to go back old school. I'm zigzagging like we used to do, like you can't catch it.
Because the guy was actually going to catch him. And he runs down and spikes the ball, man.
I was not the fastest guy, but I was not about to let another number 20 catch me.
We had such a strong bond, and we hung together so much. You didn't want to let that guy down. You didn't want to be the reason why.
Man, they just found some great players, not just athletes, but great people. They developed something that was a culture that came back from losing years and the NCAA doing whatever they could to take us down, taking away scholarships, trying to get this program to fall apart. They just kept finding those kind of guys that were the Miami mindset people.
We on the road again to get to the national championship. Not only are we on the road, but it's a night game in the Orange Bowl. Not only is it a night game, it's the seniors game. Oh, y'all ain't got a chance. They ain't have a chance. I mean, they didn't have a chance at all.
That smoke, man, it's just, I don't know what was the reason behind it, you know, Miami starting it, but when you came out of that smoke, man, it was like almost like saying, look at us now, look at us. You know, we finna go out here and put on the show.
It was a matter of as soon as that fire engine smoke comes out, and then that loud crank happens, and then the gates are open. It's almost like the gates of hell just been unleashed upon you.
It's such a close-knit community because in a way, it's a very select community. And so, guys who want to come here, there's some, you go through some tough times. I mean, people want to knock you off because you went to Miami, and you go through some criticism. But I think that's what makes you tight as a group, and I think that's what makes things even that much more special.
We spend so much time together on the field, but off the field, we probably spent a lot more time. It wasn't about black, it wasn't about white, it wasn't about Hispanic, not Hispanic. We really, really loved each other. And you could see that to this day where guys still stay in contact with most of those guys. And I'm not going to say that in a practice you didn't get pissed off and wanted to fight one of your teammates because he beat you or that. There was still that sense, but we were all so competitive, but we also hung out together so much as a group. We truly became a family.
But you're located the two exits
close to the window.
Keeping in mind that your closest exit may be behind you. To open the door, move the handle in the direction of the arrow.
Hey man, this some real shit though, dog. I was laid over for like 4 hours the other day, and all I could think about was like, how in the fuck Big Burn was gonna fit in this coach chair?
Look, because they said they had to check his chin.
Hey, that motherfucker went to get on the plane. He's like, sir, you gotta check that chin in.
Where's it? In Beverly Hills, Hollywood.
Shocking, what do you think of California so far? It fucking sucks.
It's alright.
I fucking paid $30 for 2 fucking Philly cheesesteaks last night, and they fucking tasted like shit. Me and Robert.
I want to get orange Chinese chicken, and it tastes just like orange.
For our flight from just ready to give me one bowl.
Are you black or white?
It doesn't matter. Whatever day I want to be, I just switch up. Like if I'm in a fight and white people win, I'll just go to white people. If black people win, I'll, whatever. That's a whole other meal. Why y'all bring cameras?
I know, you be too close. Man, get the goddamn camera on my face, man.
Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and move ahead this thing, get going, all right?
How's it going, Coach?
How's it going with you, man?
Pretty good.
Get that camera on my face.
Okay. Prozac. G.
G back in the homeland.
What's going on?
Welcome to my neck of the woods.
See, nothing but Mexicans and Chinese people here.
You gotta take them outside and show them one of those little things that goes like this in the earth. It's called a hill.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, funny guy.
You know, just to actually make it there was a great accomplishment. And I just remember once we won that game, we knew we going to the ship. And everybody started breaking it down and dancing. Coach Coker would dance. Everybody would go crazy and happy. But it was a great feeling because you put in so much work and, you see the results of it. And then there were guys that put in 10 times the amount of work as me. There were guys there that came to UM not even on a scholarship. There were guys that came in on track scholarship. Guys that, scratched, bled, sweat, the whole thing just to get there. And then to get there and be successful and finally, go out on top was amazing.
Nebraska needs to change. I don't even remember practicing for the Nebraska game.
The Rose Bowl is a big event. They want to parade both teams around and make it seem like everybody's cool and everybody's cordial. We went on the Jay Leno show together. We go to Universal Studios together. We're doing all these things together. But the whole time, we're looking at them like, I want you right now.
That college football is kind of skewed in that department. You shouldn't do that. I understand that it's a big lucrative business, but we came out there practice hard. I don't think they ran across. I think they avoided us on the street as much as possible, to be honest with you. From what happened with the Sugar Bowl.
I remember they brought out their biggest guy, Samoan cat, 6'8", 400 pounds. I'm not even saying 400 pounds. And then we bring out our biggest guy, who was Big Burn, who was a huge man, but standing next to this guy, Big Burn, looked tiny. And I think for the crowd and for everybody else that was there, it was like, oh my God, like, look at the size difference, like this and that. And we were like, who cares? You have no idea. You have no idea, who cares? So what? 400 pounds, who cares? We're gonna smash them, who cares? You know what I mean? And I think little things like that kind of gave us an extra chip.
You know, the game was different because you hear all the hype about Eric Crouch and the option, the vaunted option, the speed, quote unquote speed that they had on offense and how we weren't going to be able to stop it. And, you know, I remember the first series, they were moving slow. So, you know, for us, we were just like, this is going to be easy. And I remember coming off the sideline after the first series, and I told Shane, I was like, we're going to kick their ass. And he was like, really? I said, they're just slow. I mean, you just can't, there was no way around the speed. The speed was there, and we could just, even if we messed up, we could catch up. I mean, that's just the way it was for that game. So, you know, I just remember the first series saying, look, we're going to kick their ass.
We ballin', boy.
I hands down thought I was going to be MVP of the Rose Bowl. I think it just became a 1-2-3 punch with myself, Shockey, and Dre.
I think it was Keo Craver, you know, at the time covering me, and you know, people talk so much about that matchup the whole week. You know, how was I going to perform against him? And
so Andre, doing practice and one-on-ones, as soon as the ball snapped, Andre engaged with me, and he pulled me through, and he went on a go ball, and he caught the go ball in the national championship game. With I think Keo Craver that was the cornerback.
We ran a double post play, and it was a play that we ran a lot, and you know, we made a lot of big plays off of it. And you know, he was standing in front of me, and I just grabbed him and threw him down, and I was just running down the field wide open.
And then he went and caught the touchdown pass, and everything was history after that.
I mean, I remember being in the locker room, and everybody jumping around and high-fiving and crying. And, yeah, we're going to do this again next year. And I was like, shit, it's over for me.
Remember after the game being brought up by the Thursday Night Football guys that had set up, and Lee Corso being there, and him asking us is like, you know, what's your biggest sense of accomplishment this year now that you've won the national championship? And I remember telling him that, you know, we won this national championship the right way. UM's always been known for their swagger, and each national championship team has had their own character and their own kind of aura about them. When you look at the 2001 team and the national championship team and a team that's considered to be one of the greatest assembled in football history, you could say that, man, these guys did it the right way.
To come back from national championship, we had just won, we had the plane ride back with the fans, you know what I'm saying? And the chance that I heard was one more year, like don't leave. And I was kind of debating not leaving, but that was a part of my original plan.
I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't talk to my mama. I didn't talk to the coach. I didn't talk to nobody. When we left, Philip Buchanan called me. He said, man, what you gonna do? And I said, what you gonna do? He said, man, if you leaving, I'm with you. Like, we came in together, we leaving together. And I said, well, I suggest you meet me in Miami because I'm on my way. We on 95, passing 395 in the beach exit, and my cell phone rang. I answered, hello, it's Coach Coker. Hey, hold on. Let's talk. I said, what's up, Coach? He says, is there any way possible that I can get you to come back to school? And me and Phil had just left Williamson Cadillac. And I said, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. And, you know, I looked down at my emblem, and he was like, well, what about Philip Buchanan? Have you heard from him? Is there any way I can get him to come back? And I looked at the car beside me, got back on the phone, and I said, nah, Coach, I don't think he can come back neither. Man, he was like, well, have you guys heard from Shockey? I said, well, Shockey ain't landed yet, but he on his way to Williamson too, so you still got a chance on him. He ain't picked up his truck yet.
We on our way to the Rose Bowl. This is no good, it can't show. No one came fast, have some fun on the road. Rose Bowl title, so don't try to front. See, number one offense in the country. We live real hungry, ballin' boy. Why the country boy stallin' boy? Like at least you keep it ballin' boy. Bling bling, national champions ring. America's team. I love it when you come through the steam. On the way, Sebastian lead the way. Everybody gon' remember the day. What you know about the hurricane going to the Rose Bowl? Freeze, nobody move till we say so. Ballers boy, undefeated boy. Got it on lock, can't be stopped boy. 11-0 boy, the show boy. Here we go again, Big East champs again. Mine is back again. Offense, so what the deal? Move that ball down the field. To the left, to the right, touchdown, now shout. Who let them canes out? What you know about them mommy boy? What you know about them mommy boy? What you know about them mommy boy? Hurricane. What you know about them mommy boy? What you know about them mommy boy? What you know about them mommy boy? Hurricane.
That guy stayed with me for many years of my career, you know, not because it's just the Miami way, but just because the brotherhood and how we work together, the things we discussed in the team, in the meeting rooms and stuff like that, man. And same thing for Chris Campbell. You know, it just those two, losing those two really hurt me, took something out of me from a Miami standpoint, just because I know all the work we put into it, and life is so much more than football.
In practice, Coach Shannon and Sean, you know, were getting into it about something, and he put Sean on second team. So Sean went down, he left, you know, the defense, he walked all the way down towards the end of the practice field and just went and sat by himself. And, you know, then it was time for the second team unit to go in and practice. While he was supposed to be in the deep post, playing in cover 3, post safety, by the time the ball was hiked, he was at the line of scrimmage. And I couldn't remember exactly who got the worst end of that stick, whether it was McGahee or Jason Geathers. I believe it was Jason Geathers. And by the time the ball was hiked, Sean was in the backfield. Mind you now, he's supposed to be in the post safety. By the time the ball was hiked, he was in the backfield. And all you heard was, "Wah!" Helmet this way. Ear pads out, mouthpiece out. Coach Shannon already knew at that point in time, you know, what he had done. You know, he pissed them off. That's what he did. That's what's going to happen when he pissed them off. So he pulled him out of practice. He was done for the rest of the day. But then you just look down and you just look at Coach Shannon. He's just laughing like, this dude really is crazy.
We ballin', boy.
This is a major step in this program. What you accomplished by getting us back to January 1 bowl game and winning it on national television, guys, you deserve a tremendous, tremendous amount of credit. And the coaching staff, I can tell you guys, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You guys laid it on the line. The one group that I want to thank, and I mean this sincerely, guys, those 17 seniors, every single one of you that draws a breath. I'm telling you, guys, there's no way that this program is anywhere close to being what it is today without the character, the leadership, the courage, those 17 seniors. You were the glue that held it together when it needed to be held together. Guys, there's a huge debt of gratitude to those 17 seniors. You're going to be missed a lot. And like everybody else, these guys that are here, Scott and Earl and Nick Williams, guys, one thing remains true. It'll be true today, and it'll be true the next millennium. Once a cane, always a cane. Love you. Great job, guys.